In this video, I'm going to kind of just show you some of the basics of using jump. So when you have jump open, you will have either this window pop up or another window, depending on if you have a Windows machine or a Mac machine. So this is what it looks like on a Mac, but a lot of the same things are done. I'll do them with the file menu and not this kind of jump starter, which I think is particular to the Mac. So the first thing is, how do we get data into jump? So it's going to look a lot like a spreadsheet in Excel, but we have all these options up here to do more complicated analyses than what are available in Excel. So if I want to create my own data set, I'll just go to File, New, and then New Data Table. And this kind of empty spreadsheet opens up. So it's going to be totally blank, but it starts with a column 1. So let's say I'm going to create a row for a completely randomized design with, let's just say, 2 treatments and maybe 3 replicates per treatment. So in this first column, I'm going to insert my treatment labels. So the first thing I want to do is I might want to rename this from column 1 to, let's say, treatment. So I'm going to double click on that, and then this window pops up. And so I'm just going to relabel that as treatment. There's some other things that we need to look at here as well. So my data type is actually not going to be numeric. I could use the labels 1 and 2 for my treatment, but those are just the labels. So I don't want Jump to think that this is some sort of continuous independent variable. So I'm going to go ahead and actually change that to character. And then the type of variable, I'm going to say it's a nominal, which is the same thing as just a naming of a category. There's other options you could look at, but for right now, we don't need to worry about that. So just hit OK. And if I want to actually start typing in data, I could just click underneath it. And let's say the first 3 are for treatment 1, and the next 3 are for treatment 2. So I'll just type in 1, hit enter, and keep going down like that. So very similar to how you might do this in Excel. So let me actually put, let's say, some responses. So I need to create a new variable in here, and I can do that by double clicking. So it creates by default the column 2, double click again, and call this, let's just say, Y for the response. So this one can be numeric and continuous. I'm fine with that. So let's just say these responses are 5, 6, 2, and then these are 10, 11, 15. So I've created a fake data set just to kind of show you how this works. On the left-hand side under the columns, this is going to be useful just to make sure that you have your variables labeled as the right type of variable. So these little bars next to treatment, if you click on that, you'll have options for things you could change it to. You could change it to ordinal or nominal. I usually just leave it as nominal. And then for Y, right now we're going to leave it as continuous. Don't really know why that symbol means continuous, but that's what they choose to use. So that's the basics on just how you create a data set. If you ever try to do copying and pasting in a jump table, you can do it, but it's a little bit awkward and doesn't always work that great. So I don't always recommend it. The next thing I'm going to show you is, let's say I have a file like a CSV file that I want to import into Jump rather than having to type all the data myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this. I'm not going to worry about saving it. So in this folder right here, I have this trout experiment file that I want to bring into Jump. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to go to Open, File, then Open. Not Open Data Table, because this is saved as a Jump data table. So I have this saved on my desktop folder. So there it is. So Jump's not going to know immediately what to do with this, but I'm going to click Open, and it's going to open up this window. So it doesn't really know. It thinks this is a separate script that it can be run, but it has an option as import as data. So you can just click on that, and it's able to bring that in. So whenever you're bringing in data like this, Jump has to try to guess what these variables are. So it sees this variable right here as having numbers, so it's going to say, oh, well, that's a continuous variable, and it does it by default. So you could analyze it as a continuous variable, but from what we've seen up to this point, we probably want to just make this and consider it to be a categorical variable at this point. So all I need to do to change that is just click on that symbol right next to sulfamarazine and go down to nominal, and now I would be able to do analysis as particular. So that's pretty much it in terms of bringing in data and creating your own data set.